Hey yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. It is Wednesday night and I'm coming at you with another poker recap video. As a lot of you guys know, Wednesday night over at Talking Stick Casino Resort is one of their better tournaments of the week. At least one of the better ones that I'm going to wake up for. It's a $130 tournament with a $10 add-on that gets you 7,500 chips. Which is a pretty good starting stack, considering the blinds start at 25.50, and they are 20-minute blind rounds. Only thing that sucks about it is it gets a little WPT-ish, which anybody who watches that knows how crazy their blind rounds are towards the end. And it does get a little nuts once you get past the second break. It's constantly just doubling and multiplying, so it goes up exponentially pretty quickly. But my goal was, and kind of my goal all Wednesdays going forward, is to be able to grind out most of the day, and if all goes well, free roll my way into the tournament. So, have a decent enough session that I can pick up at least $130 profit, so I can, hop into the tournament and possibly pull down the $4,000 first prize. There's usually between 130 and 160 people. And first place is usually at least $4,000. I've seen actually up to 5 before. But usually once you get down to the final table, everybody wants to chop, and it pays out pretty well for the most part. So that was my goal. They got off a little later started than I was hoping to, but I was able to get to the casino by 6. Tournament starts at 7:15, so I figure have some time, sit, let's grind it out, and hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be able to free roll my way into the tournament. So sit down at a 2-3 table, buy it for, max, which I always do 3 stacks. 3 bills. 3 stacks. Wish it was 3 stacks. But buy it for 3 bills. And third hand in, I'm in big blind. Muck my first 3 hands. Finally pick up a hand on the big blind. I'm already in. Fold, call. There was, I think, 5 or 6 people in the pot. I looked down, and I got American Airlines very first hand. Bullets, weapons of mass destruction, whatever you want to call them. I've got rockets, pocket aces. First hand I'm playing. Beautiful, right? So I'm already in for 3. So I ended up deciding, you know what? It's already got a decent enough pot. Somebody's going to call. So I throw in 15 more. So now it's an $18 bet. Mind you, we're only playing 2-3. So that's a good 6 times the big blind. Guy who was first to call, which was under the gun +1, ends up making the call. Comes around, folds around to everybody else. Okay, I'm all right with that. I figured I could at least take one guy. So the flop comes up 6, 5, 10. 2 clubs. 10 was whatever. I think a heart or a diamond. So the clubs scared me a little bit, but I'm still going to, at least take a shot at this. I'm hoping this guy's sitting there with ace-10, hit his top pair. Let's go from there. At the same time, if I take down the pot right now, I'm okay with that. When you figure the 5 people that called for 3 is 15, plus the guy calling my 18, it's a decent $35, of profit. It's a good $60 pot. So I end up, like I said, at this point, the pot's about $60 or so, or 58 or whatever, or 61, whatever. And so I end up putting a decent-sized bet into it. I bet 25 into it. So almost instantaneously, this guy calls, which kind of scares me. I'm thinking maybe he got lucky and he hit a set, but at the same time, I have aces, so how am I not going to keep going here? So on the turn, a 4 peels off. But it's not a club, so I'm still feeling a little bit better. I mean, yeah, straight draw got a little bit there, but I'm not expecting that he's calling me with, 7-8 or deuce tray in his hand. Like, come on, that's not what he's going to be doing. Calling out of position, it just with 6 people to act pre-flop. It's not going to happen. So again, I throw a bet in on it. This time I bet about 45. So a pretty decent sized bet. Again, just kind of trying to take it down here because I think either he's got top pair or he's on the flush draw. Either way, if he's on top pair, I'd love him to keep drawing at it. But if he does have a flush draw, I'm okay just getting it out now. And I'm giving him wrong pricing to make the call. But he calls, so I'm kind of a little curious as to what it is. River card hits and doesn't hit the club, but it hits a tray. And I just have a bad feeling, and I don't really know why I have a bad feeling. I can't tell if it's a feeling of he hit a set, like he had pocket trays, he was waiting around, he hit his tray. I don't know what it was, but I just had this bad feeling. And I felt that if I bet, he was going to raise me. And I pretty much knew I was going to call, even if he had the set. My first hand with aces, if I win this pot, I have my buy-in. I'm going to call. Really, whatever he bets, short of pushing all in, I was pretty sure I was going to call. So I ended up checking the action to him, and pretty quickly he ends up betting 60. And I think about it, I think about it, I think about it, I think about it. I end up calling, and you know, in a way, I had a feeling I might be beaten. But in my mind, either an ace-10 or, you know, he had nothing. He had ace-10, he had a set, or he had nothing. So I was betting on the fact that he didn't. So I ended up calling his bet. He rolls over pocket ducks. He called me all the way down and caught runner for the straight. Called me the entire way down with pocket twos. And I understand it's not exactly the scariest of boards. And what he said to me is, I thought you had ace-king. And technically, the way I played it, I could have had ace-king. I could have had ace-king just as easily, betting it the whole way down, just, you know, trying to get him out of the pot. And that would have been a great call all the way down if I'd had ace-king. But I didn't. I had aces. And he ended up catching a gut shot straight draw. Which is kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. I would have been better if he would have hit the other duck, you know. I don't know. Just at least if he would have hit the duck on the flop and I would have had to pay it off, fine. But to catch that, oh my God, to catch the straight draw, runner as well was just sickening. So, first hand in. And I lose a good $140 out of my stack, $130 out of my stack. Very first hand. So, I end up nickel and diming my way, and can't really get any traction. Get down to about a bill, then get down a little bit more to about an 80, then finally pick up aces again, actually. And at this point, it had been raised, it had been folded, raised, called, and I put in a decent sized raise. I actually shoved, and I probably shouldn't have. I probably could have gotten more value on it. But I already figured that there was a raise to, I want to say, 12, and then there were 2 calls. So I'm thinking of the 2 calls, one of those 3 people is going to call a re-raise, because I only raised to, I want to say like, it was only like 72 more or something. I didn't even have a full stack when I started. So I really did think that I was going to get, you know, at least a caller. Sadly, I didn't, and ended up just taking down the pot pre-flop, which I was okay with, honestly. I mean, at that point, I picked up another, what, $40. And after what happened with the aces the last time, I was kind of all right with that. Then I picked up another hand. It was actually right around that point that I was back up to about the $1.30, and my boy came over. My boy Bill came over because he was planning on playing it as well. And I told him, you know, what happened with the aces or whatever. And he looked out and said, oh, well, at least you got your buy-in. So that was a good thing. I at least had my 130 for the buy-in. But I also was down, you know, 170, so that kind of sucked. So then I went on a little bit of a heater and shoved a couple times on raises. Once with pocket 8s and another time with pocket 7s. Then I had a flop come up that I really liked. I called a bet, I called a bet pre-flop with ace-king of clubs. And the flop came up ace, I want to say 7-8, 2 clubs. So I've got top pair, top kicker, and the flush draw. This is beautiful as far as I'm concerned, you know. I'm loving this. So I end up, action acted in front of me. I was on the hijack seat. Action bet. Guy ended up calling, and so I raised. I raised it like 50 more. And the guy ended up thinking about it for a while. Both the guys did. The one guy mucked decently quick. The other guy thought about it for a while. And I was really hoping he was going to call, because I figured at that point, if I call that bet, if the club doesn't hit on the turn, what am I going to do? Am I going to really put the rest of my stack in on one last card? You know, yes, I've got top pair. I don't know. It was one of those spots maybe I could have milked it a little bit more, but I don't know, I felt like he was going to call, and I felt good about it. So I ended up pulling down that pot. They both folded. So that got me back up to about 180. And then I had another pot where I flopped queen high flush draw with the king ball out there, four to the flush, as well as, what was it? I think I had queen deuce. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I could have had queen deuce. I don't remember what my other card was, but I remember that it gave me like a backdoor backdoor straight draw, and I ended up shoving again, just trying to get maximum value, because I figured, again, what do I do on the turn? Am I going to call off a bet? I'd much rather get all my money in there, have a chance to see two cards, and ended up taking that pot down. So that actually got me back up to about, I want to say I think it was 235, 225. So I'd only dropped about 75, which wasn't too bad. And when I racked up and headed over to the tournament, so I ended up buying into the tournament. And really, for the beginning, I was playing pretty well. I felt that I was playing pretty well the whole night. Honestly, was getting a lot of kind of up and down type of hands. Kojak, Queen 10, Queen 9, King 8, Ace 8, hands like that that I was able to steal with it a few different times. I was pretty much stealing at least once a level, so I was covering my blind. I'm sorry, once a round, so I was covering my blinds at least off of that, and I really was going off of the thought process of trying to win one big pot, at least one big pot an hour, or at least win a pot an hour. Ended up one kind of big hand that hurt me a little bit. I paired a queen. I believe I had, queen 8. Queen 8, the flop came up like rag, rag, rag. We all checked. Turn card hit an 8. I ended up betting, got one caller. River card hit another rag. No straight, no flush. I ended up betting again. Guy calls, he had queen 9, and the 9 played. So that hand kind of hurt me a little bit and chopped me down a little. But really, after that hand happened, I was pretty aggressive from then on. I was playing pretty aggressively. I was making some moves. And really was racking up some chips. I made a couple really good reads. One, I called a guy down with middle. Yeah, it was middle pair, and he ended up having it was a complete bluff. I ended up calling him on middle pair. I had like a pair of 7s, and the board was like 10-9. Yeah, it was Jack 10, 7, and then like Tray 4, I think. So yeah, there was a little bit of straight issues out there, but I wasn't really worried about the 9-8, and ended up he made a decent bet on the end with just an ace, and I ended up picking him off. So that hand actually was really nice. That one built me up pretty good. Then I had another hand where I called the guys all in. I had pocket 7s, he had pocket 5s, so I ended up knocking him out. Took down a pretty good sized pot with that. By the time we went to first break, I was at about 14,000. Chip average was about 11,000. So I was doing pretty well with that. There were 139 people that day, or today. Prize was $44.80 for first place. And, it was going to be a pretty decent payday. You make it to that final table. So we come back from the first break. They end up moving our table. Get moved to a new table, and I lost. I had probably about 2 rounds of just bad cards. I didn't get really much to play. A couple times I tried to limp, and a couple of the big stacks really popped. And it's funny, I was big stack at my table. I get moved to this new table, and now I'm like 5th or 6th in chips. And there are some people that have 5 times the number of chips I did. There were mad amounts of chips. Well, maybe not 5 times, probably 3 or 4 times. I guess people were just getting crushed at this table, and some of these guys are running good. So I had a couple hands, one hand with Ace Jack that I ended up letting go. Was thinking about, I raised a pre-flop, got re-raised for pretty much my whole stack, almost my whole stack. I think it was about 9,000, the guy went all in, and I ended up letting it go. He showed 2 queens, had another hand with jacks that I was really thinking about making the play with. Again, I had raised, got re-raised, and another guy pushed all in on top of that. And there was just too much action behind me. Plus the queen had hit on the flop, and I don't know. I had a bad feeling about it. Somebody was calling it pre-flop plays queen, so I ended up letting that go. Ended up, kind of going up and down until the next break when I had 15,000. So I pretty much gained, about 1,000 over the next, time between the break, which kind of sucked. I would have liked to have built a little bit more, but the chip average was right at 14.5, so it's still above chip average. Ended up really just kind of getting blinded down a little bit, tried to steal to keep my blinds a few times, and it didn't work. So I was about at 12,000. I raised pre-flop, made it, I want to say I was under the gun. At this point, blinds were 600, 1,200. And like I said, I had about 12,000. So I have about an M of 10. I have about a 10 big blinds, and I had about an M of, like 7.5. So I ended up making a decent sized raise. I made it 3,800 pre-flop, which is about what they've been doing. 36, 38 was most of the pre-flop raises. Ended up coming around to a guy in seat 9, and he was actually the big blind. Everybody had folded around to him, so I was all right with it. He ended up shoving, and at that point he had me barely covered by like 100, but I'd already put in more than a quarter of my stack. Really, it was essentially a third of my stack, and I felt eights were good. I honestly felt I was racing. I thought, maybe if I'm lucky, he's sitting on sevens, but more than likely he's on ace queen. And so I ended up calling, and he had ace king, and sure enough, ace ball right in the window. So that kind of destroyed my hopes. I couldn't hit my 2-outer and get knocked out in 45th place. So it was a lot better than what I did last time I played it. So I'm getting better and better each time in it. But I really felt I played well. I didn't feel that I really made any mistakes. Maybe I missed value on a couple pots, but for the most part, I don't really feel like I messed up. Just got unlucky, which you got to win races. There's going to be a point in any tournament you have to win races to win the tournament, and I didn't. So, end of the day, ended up dropping about $200. Not too bad since last time I won 300. So I'm still up from that aspect. I'm up for this week, and hopefully going to head back out tomorrow and for sure Friday and Saturday. So at least I've got that to look forward to, and hopefully I can keep pulling positive weeks, get myself ready for Vegas and the World Series, and doing it big. So once again, wanted to do a quick poker recap. I apologize, this one went on kind of long. There's really not much of a way to sum these up. Kind of wanted to go through some of the hands and explain everything that happened, but so I apologize if it got a little exhausting or long-winded there, but just want to let you guys know how everything went. So there's the story. Those aces really hurt first hand. Would have been nice to have pulled that pot. It probably would have changed my night completely. But I was like, no way can I start 2 sessions off with positive wins, in the beginning, and sadly I couldn't. So once again, Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. Poker recap video. Let me know what you guys think. Have you had success playing the Wednesday night tournament out at Talking Stick? How do you like the 2-3-300 game? Do you like playing the spread limit? Let me know. I'm always liking to hear back from everybody. Always, interested to hear what people have to say. So hit me up with the comments, like it up, all that up on YouTube. Of course, search me on YouTube, Matthew Maley Poker. You can like, comment, subscribe, so you can be first to know about all the new videos. Of course, you can follow your boy on Twitter, at Matthew Maley. Stay tuned on there. Playoffs are starting. The NFL draft's tomorrow, so I'll be posting lots of tweets up on there. This next month is a fun month for sports. Of course, you can like your boy's page up on Facebook. I've just started getting Facebook back updated and active. I've been really good on Facebook for a while. That kind of fell off. Got more into Twitter. So I apologize for that. If you are following me up on Facebook, I will be uploading all my videos to Facebook from now on. So you don't have to check back on YouTube if you'd rather look on Facebook. Everything will be posted up there. So it'll probably take me about a week to get everything posted, but I'm going to try to get all my videos on there, and at least for the past month or two, at least probably from this year. Of course, as always, the tried and true MatthewMaley.com. That's finally back up and updated as well. I've had some time, as you guys know. So check me out on any of those ways that you can. I'm messing my checks up here. And as always, thank you guys for the support. Much appreciated. Hopefully you guys like my poker recap. Let you guys know. Going forward this summer, you're going to be seeing a lot of poker recaps. Probably damn near daily. So try to get into it, you know, get into the groove before then. So until the next video, it's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. Officially signing off. Stay tuned. Got some videos coming out this weekend. So as always, peace out, y'all.